So last Friday, I was on an Instagram live with Moses Bright, who is a property consultant, a property investor, and also the founder of Announced Property as well. And there we discussed, is buy to let worth it in 2025 and beyond. So I'm not going to add any spoilers here. I want you guys just to watch it in full because we discussed so much. So here it is.
Let's jump right into it. Let's jump right into
Let's
it
do it.
because this is a big topic that people are asking all over the place. Whether that is people who are, looking to get involved in property, people who are in property, people who have been in property for many years. We're seeing figures, and I think this. Good evening. Welcome. Is that
Evening, guys.
there is Property Path. So welcome, and think primary. There's a lot of you. So sorry if we don't say your name, but good evening, guys. Just join us. Give us a wave when you join. But yeah, so we know we're here. Let us know where you're tuning in from. London, Newcastle, Manchester, any space.
Yeah, that's it. That's
you
it.
know.
And let us know what you think about the debate as well. Like, what's your stance? That do you guys think
Yeah,
buy to let is worth it
yeah,
in 2025 and beyond? Do you not? Let us know as well. We want this to be as
correct.
interactive as possible.
100%. Please join. Like I said, join the conversation. So before we start, let's give a big background, so at least people know who we are. So I think having a background is a good thing. First, so for those of you who are just joining us, so I'm Moses Bright. I'm the founder of Announced Property. So I run a very bespoke property consultation. I've been doing this now for 10 years. Won awards, won some awards, which is a blessing. And I've been helping people to get on the property ladder for a long time now. We just actually completed in the property yesterday. My clients were 70 and 71 years old, so got them
Wow,
their home, which is
wow,
beautiful, isn't it?
wow.
Beautiful. And we help lots of investors to, invest in the UK. And I also invest myself, I've got one of my team members in here as well. So I've been doing this for a long time now. I've gone through quite a few cycles. I'll probably say the cycle I went through was interest rates, change in interest rates, and then COVID hit, COVID hit as well. Some people did, pull up a little bit from property because of COVID. But now I'm here helping more people, get involved in property, whether new, advanced or super experienced. And my clients are from everyday people to super wealthy people and international clients as well. So but our service is just a very bespoke service to make the buying process of a property very stress-free. So the consultant developer, I also run a podcast as well, which is Into Property Podcast, where Nabi has been there. I cannot wait for your episode to drop.
Oh man,
My
I'm
goodness
waiting.
me.
People are waiting, bro. They're waiting on it. I can't wait to see it as
Don't
well.
worry. When we release the next season, people will hear the conversation. So, and Into Property Podcast is just a place for me to just have conversation with people like Nabi and everyday people to come share their story of those who are in property, those who are, advancing their field, and just for people to hear the story of what it takes to buy a property in this country. So that's pretty much me. Nabi, over to you, and then we'll get cracking.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So I'll do a short introduction. So I'm Nebi. I'm a property investor. So I've got quite a few properties down here in Kent, and then I've got a block of flats as well in Yorkshire, and I'm still looking for deals as we speak. So I was, as some of you will know that are in this live, I was working on a deal this year. It was two flats in Middlesbrough, which I'm sure we'll touch on, later on in the live. But that fell through, and again, we'll speak a
Mm.
little bit about it. But now I'm on it again, trying to find more deals. So I've got 6 properties at the moment, and just looking to scale. As well as that, I'm also a property mentor as well. So I mentor individuals that are looking to buy either their first residential property or their first investment property. And I can see some of my mentees are actually in this live as well. So
Nice.
hopefully they collect some gems.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That's good. So the question, one of the reasons why I decided to do this live is because I was invited to speak at a rental rights bill event just recently, a couple of days ago. And while they were sharing about this rental right bill, it was really like the rental rights bill. The room was very cold. The room was super cold, and people were just you could see panic in the room. Like you could
Mm.
just see people panicking in the room. So I was the last speaker. I don't know why they kept me to the last, but the first speaker spoke of a rental right bill, and white people were just speaking. That nobody was smiling at this
Mm.
event. I don't know if you saw my story. I did a story on my WhatsApp a couple of days ago where I just posted a little bit of me speaking. No one was smiling. And it got me thinking, and I thought, hold on a second, this is just scaring a lot of landlords. Like a lot of landlords are just thinking, I've had enough. I have had enough. I'm no longer getting involved, in this game anymore. I'm down. So the question now is, is buy-to-let still worth it? Is it actually still worth it in this economy that we're in? With the rental rights bill about to be implemented and the amount of landlords that have left the market. In fact, I have it somewhere here so people can see. So I had it somewhere here. Landlords, so how many landlords have left the market? And you can Google it yourself, guys. So literally, it's saying just in 2004, about around 18,000 homes have left the sector. So
Mm.
that's a lot of that is a lot of landlords who have left. You know, it's a lot. It's a high number. So
Yeah.
it's a very very um, high number of people where people just just exiting the market. It's quite high. Now the question now that is that if I'm more saying that they want to sell, some of them are looking to sell right now. Some of them don't want to do buy to let anymore. But maybe you and I are still buying. In fact, you've done a deal. I've just bought a house last
Yep.
month that I'm doing up right now. I do a lot of BRRs for myself and my clients.
Yep.
So the question is, if people are leaving the market, where does that leave us? So let's go back a little bit. Let's go back a little bit. So we had changes in the market. So interest rates.
Hmm.
When it was 0.1%, people used to ask me, are you still investing? Does it make sense does it make sense, to invest in property? Back then the interest was so low. I just thought, well, if interest rate is low right now, jump in. Oh, but stamp duty, there's bidding wars. I'm like, just jump in. Buy to let is a long term game. And I want to
Say
say
that
it
again. Say
again.
that again. Say that
I
again.
want
Say
to
that
I want
again.
to say it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
say it
Yeah.
again. I'm going to break it down. If you are thinking of investing in property, let's just put aside what you see right now on social media, whereby you can make £10,000 in a month, 50K in a month. Maybe you and I, let's just put that away for now.
Hmm.
Let's just park that aside. Which me and Nabi are not here to just show that we are some multimillionaires and we own fast cars. Those what they paint on Instagram. No, buy to let investing in property is a very long term game. And now there are challenges that are affecting people right now in the market. I'll go through some of them. Higher interest rates. Interest rate has gone quite high. We're looking at 4% at the moment, right? You've got tax changes. So you've got tough tax changes at the moment. So I think, for example, when you buy to let, you do interest on the mortgage. But right now, the loss of full mortgage interest, relief and higher stamp duty is affecting a lot of people. We also have tighter regulations coming in. So you've got the EPC regulations coming in as well. You've got
Hmm.
the tenant protection have increased and compliance costs. You also have house price growth. It's starting to slow a little bit. So my thing is that if we have all those things happening right now, then my thing is that do you think buy to let is still worth it in 2025 and why?
100%. Right. 100%. It's just different to what it was before. Right.
Okay.
So before you could buy a property in your own name. Right. You could pretty much buy it anywhere in the country and you were good. Right. So, and you didn't even have to really look after the property either. So if the property was in bad condition, it didn't really matter. Right. So now things have come in. Right. Which to me, the way I see it, it just means we have to be smarter and we have to adjust. Right. So you mentioned some very good points there. So one of the things that you said was the fact that there's tax regulations that have now come in, right? Now, that's true, they have come in, but they've come in for people that have properties in their own name, right? So those landlords that are selling, a lot of them are individuals that have properties in their own name, right? So you also mentioned about the mortgage relief. So currently, as it stands, right, for those that don't know, if you have a property in your own name, you can't actually offset the mortgage as a cost against your rent. Now, there's a small, very small mortgage relief that you can, but generally you can't. However, if you actually purchase that same property in a limited company, you can offset that mortgage as a cost against the rent, right? So you only pay profit on the difference, right? So it's about understanding what the regulations are and then moving and adapting with it because things will always change, right? We know that. The one
Mm.
thing that is the one thing that is going to happen no matter where we are in life is change. So
Inevitable.
it's inevitable, right? So it's just
Yeah.
about adjusting, right? So it's about thinking,
Mm.
okay, so is buying a limited company best for me? In most cases, I'm not a
Mm.
financial advisor, I'm not a tax advisor, but what I would say is in most cases, and I think you'd agree with me, it makes sense to buy a limited company, right?
Correct.
Also, if you're only looking to buy just one buy to let, then maybe it might not make sense. If you're just looking to buy one, the reason being is because if you're just buying one standard buy to let, the accountancy fees and everything like that, right? And the company fees might just eat up your profits.
Yeah,
However, if you're
yeah,
looking to slowly build your property portfolio by 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 over a period of time, then it makes sense. It does make sense because there's deals
yeah.
out here, you know. Like the amount of times I'm on Rightmove, right? When I'm looking for properties for myself, when I'm looking for properties for mentees, the amount of properties I'm seeing reduced on this date, reduced on this date. How many times? A few years ago, it wasn't like that. Like people were
Correct.
paying over asking price, right? However, now you can get good deals, bro, and they are everywhere. I'm telling you, you know, as you know, right? You know, the Middlesbrough flats that I was working on, right? It fell through a few
Mm.
weeks ago, bro. I'm already back on Rightmove, and I'm seeing deals everywhere. I'm
Come
even
on.
happy that that fell through because I'm seeing better deals. You know, so they're there. You just have to be educated, right, and understand where we are
Nice.
and what the times are. That's what I'd say.
I like what is that Darren said. It's a good point on good point on us having to adjust. I think generally speaking, in business, one has to be willing to adapt. Fact,
Facts,
you have to be
facts,
willing to adapt. And I
100%.
tell you what. So let me give a quick scenario. So just before COVID, yeah, let me take you guys back a little bit. Just before COVID, people who do like HMOs and things like that, and obviously, guys, they have different property strategy. So, and each one work. So you have to choose which one works for you. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I never did rent to rent. From 2015, when I started doing property, I never rent to rent. Just it didn't suit me. It wasn't in my blood. It's just something I can't do. I tried
Same
it.
here. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
tried it, and I just thought, hey man, I understand I can control someone else's property. It's a business. I don't care what anyone says. It's a business, and I wasn't willing to be dealing with all this tenants and this person calls me. I want to change the light bulb. Nah, bro. I'm not in for that. The reason I'm saying is because before I started property investment, this is something that people don't. People take this for granted, bro. People don't plan. People don't have a plan. You see, I wasn't one of those people who started watching social media. To be fair, though, 2015, I'll be honest with you, not a lot of people were popping in 2015 when I
Mm-hmm.
started. So social media wasn't as popping as much that time.
As
So,
is
well,
now. Yeah,
not like it is right now.
yeah.
What I did was I had a plan and I sat because I'm married. I'm a married man. Then I didn't have kids, but I just thought, okay, if I fast forward 10 years time, 20 years time, 30 years time, I'm in my 30s. So if I start now, what kind of lifestyle do I want in my 40s, in my 50s, in my 60s? So I went and I literally tried to learn. I got mentors, and one of my mentors, multimillionaire, been in the game for 30 years, like 30 years, and wrote a book about replacing your pension. And one of the ways to replace your pension is basically buy to let properties.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have some HMOs, but think about what strategy suits you. So I then thought, okay, you know what? Maybe later on I'll do some HMO service accommodation. But I thought, what is one thing that humans will always need is shelter. Shelter. It doesn't
Yep,
matter what they tell me, it's shelter.
yep.
And families, the way I looked at it was I looked at the different strategies and I thought, okay, Moses, which one are you naturally good at? Which one do you think you'll be naturally good at? Go study that one. Don't be jack of all trades. Learn how to do HMO, learn how to do rent to rent. So when they ask you, maybe what do you do? Then you start to like, oh, I do this. No, become so good at one of them. So I thought, you know what? I thought there will always be families. I did my research and I'm thinking, okay, there's a demand for rentals in this particular area. But I found out that the demand that was higher was buy to let, like single lets, by the way, single lets. Now, when people started to say buy to let is dead, courses were coming out, buy to let is dead. If you want to make money, if you want cash, if you want that, cash machine, it's HMO, and that's fantastic. It works for them. But what I'm not going to do is go do something that I don't even understand because
Yep.
I see someone doing something on the internet. So I watch someone do, oh, hey guys, we've just converted the house to a six-bed HMO. These are the numbers. We bought this property for 78,000. You know the flow. We bought this
Oh, I
property
know, bro.
for
I know. I see all the
78,000
times.
78,000 pounds. We spent 20,000 pounds doing it up. It's going to be worth 360,000 pounds. All money in, all this, all that. You see that stuff, you're thinking, I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna quit my job. Meanwhile, that person, people are telling you on courses, forget about your 95. 95 is for slaves. See, guys, get rid of the noise. Just get rid of the noise. Think what works for you. For me, I just thought, you know what, yeah, when I've got my kids, okay, you know what, if I buy this property right now, let's say I bought property for 60,000 pounds, for example, okay, it works for me. In a couple of years' time, that's one property for my one of my kids' university. So they
Yep,
don't have to go get a student loan.
yep.
Uh, in 18 years' time, that property definitely would have gone up in value. It doesn't
100%.
matter all regulations. I bought it. If I bought it for 60K in 18 years' time, it will be worth way more than that because of the capital appreciation. So I started sticking to my lane. When people were saying, oh, this is the, I'm like, what am I good at? For me, maybe I've got a first class in business. So I
Okay.
studied business. Do you
Yeah.
understand? So I had to understand, why do businesses fail? Why is it that people come, they start renting rent? There are people who have been to courses, they've been to, I don't want to mention names, but they've been to so many courses, they've called me while they're in the courses, but because shiny pennies. What skills do you have? Like I love what Life of Gomez just said. We all have different skills. We work what works for someone else might be different. Frank, you know what, yeah? Drop the mic.
Yeah, yeah, that's my younger brother. That's my younger brother. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
drop the mic, drop
yeah.
the mic. You know what I'm saying? I had to think what's working for other people. So I just
Exactly.
thought I'm gonna stick to what I know best. What I did was I just pivoted. So before I used to buy the property, 25% deposit, buy to let. I didn't recycle, just buy 25% deposit, the normal way. But as soon as things started to change, I thought, let me just become so good at BRRs and I'll still focus on my buy to let. Because
Makes
one,
sense.
I love the fact that I don't have to pay any of those bills, council tax. No, the tenants will pay for it, and we have to find the good tenants. And I'm saying all this to just encourage people that when you see things going on like this, the rental reform bill, people are just waiting. People are scared right now. People are thinking there's tighter regulations, there's no more money. So somebody said to me, why would you go buy properties up north and make only £250 a month, £300 a month? What if one boiler goes? What if one boiler goes? So I said, okay, cool, that's fine. So your HMO, for example, what happens if a tenant set the place on fire? What happens if your boiler goes as well, your HMO? What happens? There's no difference.
Yeah, and
So
let me
yeah,
have
go
an add
on.
to that as well. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
'cause my strategy is somewhat similar to yours, right? Because I have buy to lets. I have five buy to lets, right? So I have one buy to let in Gillingham, and then I have the block of four flats in Yorkshire as well, right?
Mm.
Um, and what I'll say is that there's little headaches when it comes to buy to lets, right? And I
Yeah.
imagine you see the same. Now we're not
Yeah.
here to say bad things about other strategies, right? That's not
No,
the goal
no,
here.
no.
However, what I was similar to you, right? Because there were other strategies that I was actually thinking about, once upon a time, right?
Hmm.
HMOs was actually a strategy that I was like, am I missing something here? Especially because I'm in
Mm.
Gillingham, where there's no Article 4, as you know, right?
Correct.
And
Yes.
yet,
Yes. Yes.
but we know that's
Yeah.
coming. So, and in the
Yeah.
last few years, HMOs have been popping up everywhere. So
Correct.
even
Yeah.
for me, I was like, instead of doing multi-unit deals, should I do HMOs? But I have a good friend. Right? He does HMOs, right? He's got a HMO very close to where I live, and
Mm.
there's a lot of headaches that come with the HMO. You know,
Mm.
tenants are a lot less like every tenant is a lot less likely to pay on time. There's going to
Mm.
be people potentially arguing about certain things within the property and things like that. So there are extra things that you have to manage when it comes to HMOs, right?
Yeah.
Stuff other strategies. There's more headaches when it comes to buy to lets, right? Who are the typical tenants in a buy to let?
Mm.
Couples, families, right?
Yeah.
They have less incentive to just not pay rent. If they
Mm.
if they don't pay your rent, then what does that mean for them? Eviction, potential CCJ
Mm.
on their account, right?
Yeah. Stay.
Credit,
CCJ will stay. County court judgment. That will stay in the record for 6 years.
6 years, and then
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
if you've given them a CCJ, would I want to rent out my property to them? No, I wouldn't, right?
Mm.
Because we ensure we do our reference checks upon
Correct.
their
Yes.
arrival. So, you know, buy to lets for me, like you said, right? It's stood the test of time. It's a
Yeah.
safe. It's quite safe. I feel.
Hmm.
I've been quite fortunate so far. I've never had a tenant just not pay. Now
Yeah.
you might have the odd. I've had the odd tenant pay a little bit late, but there's no tenants that have in arrears, right?
Mm.
So that kind of peace of mind, you can't. For me, that kind of peace of mind is priceless.
Yeah. Peace of mind was something I wanted. So when I thought about property investment, and don't get me wrong though, I'm also adapting. So I'm thinking, okay, later on I'm going to do some HMOs. Later on I might do some, Airbnbs and things like that. So obviously you want to that I love to just adapt as things are changing because
For sure.
obviously when you have a few buy to lets here, you have a bit HMOs here, you have some service accommodation here as well, some social housing. So you mix your portfolio. It's about mixing your portfolio and also analyzing your portfolio. So because obviously if you've got 20 buy to lets and you're making say 5K, 6K from those buy to lets, you always have to look which one is not performing. I'm always
Yeah.
analyzing my portfolio.
Yeah,
I'm
for
always
sure.
looking
For sure.
which one is not performing, and sometimes it's amazing how one that's not performing sometimes has a lot of equity in there.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
You can
When
leverage
that
it.
property is not
Yeah.
performing and the tenant is just taking too much time, and also things can happen to people's lives, in tenant. So I'll give you a good example. When COVID hit, one of my properties, I just told the tenant, I'm not going to increase the rent. I'm a human being. He had the daughter as well. I said, listen, I've got kids as well. I said to the agent, okay, let's stay cool for now. And after COVID, I think about a year or two after COVID, and then interest rates started to go up. I was like, bro, listen, man, I'm going to increase my rent just a little bit, not, very high. But then in the area, the rates then was like 45, but the rates were not going to 475,
Okay.
495, and I was on 425 for a while.
Okay.
So I said, look, I said, listen, are you able to afford it? So we said, let's try and see, can your income still afford, £25 increase per week? My man just said, hey, I'm leaving the house. I got excited. I was like, thank God, I don't have to evict you. He left quietly. Guess what I did? I refurbished the property. Yeah, refurbished his property, and then put it back on the market. The property is now renting for 650.
Wow.
Yes, sir. So
Wow.
the income from that, yeah, the net income from this property right now is currently his gross that he was paying. Do you
Mm.
get it? So let's talk about some investing. Why? So despite all the crazy stuff, like we've known, okay, there are challenges in the market, there's different strategies. But before I go to the next point, Digital Michael said something. He said, "What signs should I look for in myself to know that rent to rent is something I can go for?" For me, one of the
Wow.
signs I look for, and that's a very good question, by the way. That's a very, very good question.
Very good question. Yeah.
One of the things I looked for in myself was what kind of skills do I have? I'm a people's person. I like to talk. I like to interact with people. I'm a people's person. But then I had to ask myself a question. Moses, are you willing to run this business? Do you have the capacity? Do you have what it takes to run a rent to rent? So what I did was I then started speaking to people who did rent to rent. Then guess what? I then joined a rent to rent group. I'm still
Okay.
part of I'm part of the rent to rent group since I think probably 2013 or 14 or something like that. Like,
Okay.
because I just need to get news. Like, obviously, I like to get stuff what's happening in the market, in the rental market. So I'm part of that group. Then I paid for a rent to rent course. I paid for it. I can't remember the guy's name. It was a daughter. It was a daughter it was a father and a daughter that were doing the course. They had like, yeah. I bought that course, and I went to another guy's course as well. So that's why those are the things. Those are where I could see. Okay, is this for me?
Mm.
So I paid for it. I researched it, and I thought, okay, let me try and get the first house. Then I thought, okay, you got regulated. Then I realized, whoa, okay, it's not as easy as people just tell me I'm making 3 grand a month. You want to quit your job? You can quit your job tomorrow.
Yeah.
9 to 5 is dead. You are a slave. My guy. Let me now tell you what I learned. And this changed. So this is what true life story. This really changed my perspective. So when I started like the sourcing and things like that, buying property, like consulting, I met a guy who was doing rent to rent. And this I will never forget. This was somewhere in Brixton. This guy had a bit of few properties in around the Britain area. He just started and he quickly quit his job
Okay.
because the minute he was hitting like I think £1,500, this is like 2013, 2014. The minute he was hitting like 1.5, 1.6, close to 2K, quit his job. So
Okay.
when I started talking to him, I'm like, oh, fantastic. So this must be quite good for you then, And so I asked him, what mistake have you made that or what is something you've done that you regret and that you could probably advise me on? And the first thing he said to me was, took me to the corner and he said, Moses, I should not quit my job. And
Wow.
I said, why? And I said, well, why is that? That's the freedom. He goes, listen to me now. No, no. I've just noticed that when I'm trying to get a mortgage right now, because I've never even done 2 or 3 years tax returns already, I'm not struggling. Can I get mortgage? Because yes, because they're saying, okay, this is all you have right now. But what if your tenants don't pay rent? How will you be able to now pay the mortgage? And he just said to me, listen, if I was you, yeah, bro, just don't quit your job, bro. Don't quit your job. And I was thinking, well, funny enough, in 2015, I quit my job.
I get you. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I had a plan in place before I quit my job.
That's it.
So, hopefully that helps you. Like, go investigate rent to rent if you are interested in rent to rent. Because there are people who call me, they see my Instagram, they want to get involved in rent to rent. I said to them, unfortunately, it's not what I do. It's not for me. But I can point you to somebody who does rent to rent very good. Now, going back to opportunities right now in the
And just to add to
market.
that, just sorry, Moses, just to add to that as well, because I get the
So,
same as well. I have a lot of people that reach out to me, right? They talk about they ask about rent to SA, rent to rent. It's not
yeah,
something I specialize in either. But to
yes,
add to everything you said is correct, and to add to that as well, I think to do rent to rent and to do it well, you have to be tenacious, right? And you also have
yeah,
to be okay getting rejected again, 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 and
correct,
again. I don't know anyone that's successful rent to rent that at the beginning they didn't get rejected like 100 times. Do you know that?
correct.
Bro,
even up to now,
even up to now,
even
but
up to now.
obviously once you've got a few, right, and you've got a track record, then it's easier. But at
Correct.
the beginning,
Hmm.
if you're doing rent to rent, you have to be okay. Like landlords saying all types of stuff to you when you call them and when you message them and email them. So I think
Yeah,
as long as if you've got tough skin, I think that will help as well. If you're looking
yeah.
to rent to rent.
And I want people to know that property is a business. Fact. You have to stay as a business, so you have to be very organized. So even if you're doing your rent to rent, you have to be organized. But going back to is the buy to let dead? Because buy to let covers everything, to be fair. Buy to let is whether it's HMO, it's the whole lot. It's that big umbrella. Buy to let is what you're doing single let, HMO, semi accommodation, social housing, obviously then you have your commercial, or you're developing. But some of the opportunities I'm starting to see now, yeah. Um, we just took on a new client. A couple of days ago, I was told about this property. So I was just doing the numbers, and I thought, I don't want to pay this for this free, but this is what I'm looking to pay. I think I was looking to pay £60,000 for this property up north. With the three-bedroom house, pay 60K, spend about 15K doing it up. This is the BR, by the way, with the bridging loan. A bridging loan is a short-term finance that you take to buy property. So, for example, property is £60,000, £50,000, for example. You have 25K, you take 25K from this loan company, you buy the property cash for one. You have 1 year to pay back that loan company, but within that 1 year, you can do up the property, add value. But obviously, you've done your due diligence, you've done your research, make sure that it works, and you get a new mortgage on that house, 75% loan to value, 80% loan to value, so you can recycle your money. So I was looking to get it from a client just a couple of days ago, by the way, a couple of days ago. So I was gonna get it for £60,000, so I can spend 15K doing it up, and the values they're looking in that area, it'll be worth about 105.
Okay,
Another investor paid £67,000 for it
okay. Oh, they paid 6 7 for it.
for a yes. So yesterday I was told Sonos is gone. Is buy to let still worth in 2025? Yesterday it was gone. By the way, this is the off-market property that I sold in September.
Mm.
I'm trying to get my new investor to take on this one. It's gone. It is gone. It's
Mm.
gone. Because most of the stuff I do, most of my deals, some of them off market. So the opportunities we are seeing right now, though, because loads of landlords are selling, what I do want people to understand is that right now we are also seeing a strong rental demand.
Yes.
There's a strong rental demand. So last year, one of my agents, my manager agent, called me and said, "Moses, I've got some good news for you. You're gonna like this." I said, "Oh, tell me, man, are you gonna give some money or something? Give me some money off my management fees?" He goes, "No. By the way, in 2 months, in a month or so, 2 months time, we've already increased your rent. We give notice to increase your rent." I said, "Bro, I didn't even ask you to increase my rent." But Moses, because where I do my refurbs here, if you follow me on Instagram, you see that I don't play. You've been to my refurb in Kent.
Oh,
I do not play.
I've seen it. I've seen it. Honestly,
I don't play.
yeah,
When
yeah,
it comes to refurb, because I'm always thinking another human being will live in that house.
exactly.
So when you do the refurb so nice, you know that someone that appreciates that home will take it. Told me your rent is going up. 2 days ago, I spoke to my manager because I have meetings with my management, my property managers. We have meetings. They've already told me. I think I wrote it down somewhere. I can't find my envelope. They already told me I can't find my envelope somewhere. They've already told me the property that we're going to increase the rent. So the rent is still good. So, but what I'm just doing right now is creative. I'm just being creative. While people are saying buy to let is dead, this strategy doesn't work anymore. There's no more money in property. People are exiting the market. I did a deal recently. Property is worth like £690,000. I secured the property for £420,000.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Wow.
sir. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of I've done other deals than that. You know what I'm saying? I'm working over deals right now. Property is like 295. We're looking to negotiate it for 215 because people are looking to sell. So that's why the scaremongering of the tight regulations of the tax, coming in, all the things that are changing right now, the tighter regulations, you know, with the rental reform, with the rental rights bill, it would take you like if it's a tenant, if you get them out, you can't sell the house for like 1 year, so that house has to be empty for 1 year. People are scared about that. But if I have a good tenant,
I
like
was
you
literally
said,
about to say that. Yeah, 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 yeah.
referencing. So if you've got a good tenant, make sure you carry out your due diligence. So I think this is the state we are in right now, whereby please guys don't just look at stuff on Instagram where people are just giving you case study that are something that doesn't even exist. So if you're gonna work with somebody, I would so encourage you do a proper due diligence on the person you're working with. So what I do, I bring people on site. You've been on site. I bring people on site. And I sometimes I take people to my own. I said to them, let me take it. Welcome, Dan. That's my man right there. We've done some deals together. Amazing guy, man. Obviously, part of capable to me as well. Awesome guy right there. When you talk about creative strategy, this guy here, I call him the undercover man.
Oh, shout out Daniel. Yes,
Dan,
Daniel.
Dan is
Yeah,
undercover
yeah, that's my guy.
creative. And that's what I like about Dan as well. He's doing all that's what people are saying in the market. He's being creative. And that's what we're doing right now. We are just being creative. There's also right now, I have to write it down somewhere, there's a shift to yield in like focus areas right now. Someone came to me and they said to me, oh, if I want to get involved in property, I don't have £200,000. Da, da, da. And I said, okay, cool. You have like 50, 60. They go, yeah, but I can't do nothing in London. I said, well, that's okay. Why don't you come on the field with me to come have a look at some of my houses?
Mm,
And then they came over and I was like, so I bought this house for £45,000. I spent £17. So I bought a three-bedroom house for £45,000. I spent 17,000 £175 doing it up, and it was valued at £85,000. I refinanced that property. I paid back the investor. That property, I think, only cost me shy about 6,000, whatever I did to cost me to own the house.
mm.
Be our strategy. So I'm adapting. All I'm doing right now is adapting. It's about looking at creative strategies. For example, you might have so what I do, I usually tend to buy three-bedroom houses. For me, I buy a three-bedroom house that I have the opportunity to either convert into two flats or maybe a HMO, or maybe a use as service accommodation. But I usually buy. So all I'm doing right now in this times right now is adapting. So for anyone who's thinking, I want to get involved in property, but I'm scared the buy to is dead, I might not be able to get my property back anymore. I want to say something as well. A lot of the landlords, and I'll be very honest with you, from what I'm reading, some of the landlords that you really see leaving the market, yeah, those are amateur landlords. Those are landlords that have been in the game for like 20 plus years. Do you know what I mean? Those I've been to some houses. Never, you've been to houses, they don't look after their house. All they do is just take rent. So
Yeah,
I think people need to become creative. Just become creative. Just think outside the box. So, you
that's true.
know, and I think having the mentality that buy to let is a long term game. I think the minute you have it in your mind that if I'm going to get involved in property, it's not a case of whereby I'll just retire my whole family in 2 weeks. One of the guys, I think it was in this quite alone, I saw him, Dr. Gani Moses. He thought he's top, amazing property investor and developer, and he does it all over the globe right now. But he, when you talk to him, he will tell you think long term,
That's
long
it.
term.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
got,
yeah,
you
yeah.
got, you got to think long term, and
Yeah.
please don't let's not be don't go with the fear of missing out, or don't be just so quick to see someone post something, because we're seeing it a lot right now. Everyone's posting things like, I will teach you how to do this, and there's some good people out there that will teach you. Honestly, there's some good people out there that will teach you, but if you let the money be your motivating factor, you will not win.
You
So
have to
maybe
have, yeah, yeah.
let's talk about the whys. Let's talk so people can see what we did, why we're doing this. So why did you decide to get involved in property?
So a few things, right? So for me, property is a wealth builder, right?
Mm,
There's no other way to put it. So, and you mentioned something, right? With property, you can't get rich off property in a year. Like it doesn't happen like that, right? But let me tell you something. If you're buying a few properties, right, even over a few years, if you buy a few properties, if you sit on them for 20, 30 years, believe you me, you're going to be wealthy, right? And I knew that from a very young age. So for me, it was about building wealth, right? And ultimately having financial freedom, essentially, right? So when I
okay.
have my own family and things like that, right? They live in they're going to be able to live a life of abundance. So for me, it was that. But then also, in addition to that, and actually probably even more importantly to that, is actually to show others what can be done as well, right? So if someone like me that looks like me can buy however many properties that I'm buying, right? Then you know you can too, right? And it's a trusted game, right? And what I would also say as well, some of the most successful people that we know in property, right? They've been doing property for years, years. We know who they are, right? Like 30 plus years, right? So they've seen it all, right? They've seen regulation changes, they've seen tax changes, they've seen interest rates where they were at like 15%. They've seen everything, but they're still here, and they are super wealthy. But that's because they've stood the test of time, right? They're in their 50s, their 60s, and they still buy properties even now, right? Even now that we're these the renters reform bills coming into place and things like that, they're still buying properties now, and they have
Mm,
they have no fear, that. And so for me, it's like if they have no fear, they must know something, right? Because they've been in the game for long, you know. They've been in the game they were buying properties when we were just being born, you know.
Tell me about it.
Seriously, no, seriously,
Yeah,
seriously, seriously. I
yeah.
know investors where they were buying properties before I was even born. Do you know that they bought their first property before I was born, and now they have hundreds, right? And they
Mm,
have total freedom, and they're actually helping others as well. So
mm.
for me, that's my why, right? It's about building wealth and then showing others, you know, my community and other
Love it.
people that they can do it as well, for sure.
No, I totally agree with you. For me, that was the first thing that was the first thing I took time out to really map out. I didn't before I even went into strategies. I thought, why would I want to do this? Why would I want to get into this sector? Why would I want to get into a sector where I know landlords are being demonized? Like people hate
Mm,
landlords. If you say you're a
mm,
landlord, they leave you out. Like look at you making
bro,
money. It's to look at you.
that,
You're buying all the houses, so there are no more houses for us first time buyers. So landlords are being demonized. So I thought, why would I want to become a landlord? Why would I want to get involved in buy-to-let? So I looked back to my life and I thought, okay, so I lost my dad when I was 7 years old. So I didn't have a father growing up. I had a good family around me, but I didn't have a dad. And my dad, when he passed away, there was nothing. Like there was no inheritance, nothing. I don't have a pen to show my kids to say I got it from my dad and from me to, and from him to me, from me to you. So I thought, okay, cool. I started thinking, what would like stand the test of time? If the stock market crashes, if the stock market crashes, which we've seen happen,
yep,
what will crash and still go back up? Property,
yep,
real estate. It's called real estate for a reason. It's on the ground, isn't it? So I thought, okay, what can I do? Let me go research people who are wealthy. So I started paying people. I paid somebody £600 just to speak with him for 40 minutes. He's a millionaire. I paid him. I didn't have money back then, by the way. I had the privilege of speaking to back then. He was the 60th richest man in Britain. I
oh
had
wow,
the opportunity to sit down in his boat in Waterloo. We sat down and he said to me, "Rosie, whatever you do, whatever business you run, make sure you have a stake in real estate." Then I had the opportunity to speak to. I was working the bank. I was working the bank back in the day before I quit my job. From my 10 plus years ago now. In Golders Green, so full of Jewish people. I started talking to them, and they were just saying how they've got a real estate bought property now. It's gone up, and it's something that's really sustained them. They have businesses like law firms, but I just noticed a trend that some of the wealthiest people in the world definitely buy property and asset, and it's a long-term game. So
yes,
I thought, what kind of life would I want to live? So when I started, in 2000, I started about 2013, 14, but 15, I decided to quit my job to run it full time because obviously support from my wife, we were able to like support each other. I was earning very little then, so we were able to manage the no kids. So my why was, what kind of life do I want when my kids grow up? Now, because I didn't have a father like kind of like growing up per se, I wanted to be a father who was present. If a dad who would take my kids to school, take my kids to nursery. I didn't want a nanny. It was a purpose thing for me. I did not want a nanny. I wanted to be a dad who was around. By God's grace, my daughter's 8, my other daughter is 6. I have not missed any day in school, nursery school to today. I haven't.
I love that, man.
And
Yeah,
it's been a blessing. I've had to work hard, but guess what? I didn't have, because when I used to work, I would have to take time off work, when it's the school stuff. I've been in my daughter's school where you can see that you see kids looking for their parents. It breaks my heart. When the kid is looking for the parent in the seats and they're not there. And so sometimes when I know them, I smile at them and I wave at them and they smile. And so when they're walking past us, I give them a bit of a high five just to encourage them. So for me, I just had to look at one of the most successful people that are wealthy. Ed Sheeran has properties.
yeah,
Ed
yeah,
Sheeran
yeah.
has
Yeah.
properties.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
the stat is like 90% of millionaires have real estate. You know?
Bro, AJ, Anthony Joshua,
Yes.
property. Yeah.
Yep.
Justin Bieber, properties. Beyonce, Jay-Z, Bill Gates. Go. People don't believe it. Just see one thing I like about Google. Google is my best friend, because you can just go check this thing out.
Yeah.
Once you go check it, you will see that all these people, all these people have properties. I just wanted to be a dad who was there, who was literally there. You know what I'm saying? I want to be a dad who was there for my kids, so that way I can be there to support you. And that has given me the opportunity right now to now run a business whereby I get to go on holiday with my kids. I get to, it doesn't mean I don't work hard. It doesn't mean property is not hard. It is, but I'm still looking at the long term. And I'm going to buy more property even in the season. despite the rental rights bill coming into place. Because the question I'm asking myself is, Mo, if you lose out right now on this opportunity, what would you regret? So
Mm.
if you think that's why I always ask myself when I know my why, I ask myself the question: if you don't get involved in property right now, if you don't get involved in buy to let, for example, and I just say to myself, buy the first one, and that's how I bought my first one. Then okay, try and buy the second. So keep going. Okay, for my birthday this year, I was just privileged for my birthday. I decided to buy another property. That's what I did for my birthday this year. That was my birthday gift.
It's a good birthday present. Yeah.
Rather than buying watches and bling blings, nah, bro, no, no, no. But because I'm thinking, I've got two kids. Um, bro, I grew up in London, right? For most people who are in this call right now, how many of you in this Instagram live right now can comfortably buy a house, a three-bedroom house in London by yourself in our generation?
Mm.
I don't know how many. I don't know how many people right now in this call or who are going to be watching this can comfortably go by themselves, go buy a three-bedroom house in London right now. So what's the next generation going to be like? What's our kids? How are they going to be able to afford to buy a house? So that's why I'm thinking, yes, there are regulations in place. I'm going to focus on a strategy. I'm going to get so good at this strategy. So I will pick one. That's what I'm going to advise people. Pick one property strategy that's good for you. If it's rent to rent, if it's service accommodation, pick one, master it. If you master that strategy, become so good at it, that way you are able literally, haha, need to get Moses to buy me my birthday present. Oh, that's jokes. That's jokes. That's jokes. But that's jokes.
Yes,
Because I'm,
Darren,
I'm
you're right.
I'm
Yes, Darren.
thinking,
I could do all
oh
things
man,
through Christ.
yeah, that is my scripture. Can you see? I've got a lion behind me. Yeah, I got this in Egypt. It's the date always reminds me of the God that I serve. You know what I'm saying? Because my father is the King of Kings. He owned the whole world. So literally, it's like you're right. Then it's tough to buy, but that's what I moved to Kent. That's what I moved to Kent.
So I
You know what I'm
moved to Kent.
saying?
So I moved to Kent as
That's what I
well.
moved to Kent.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, most of my friends now are moving. Most of my friends right now, everyone's like, okay, let's go outskirts. I'm helping someone right now to buy property in Staffordshire for their home. You know what I'm saying? So I think, guys, have a plan. Is this still worth it for me? Yes, it is. But please educate yourself. Like you really have to think of educating yourself. Like, and you think about inflation. I want to talk about inflation as well.
Yes.
Property, no matter what happens here, property remains a tangible asset that tends to hold long-term value. I was saying property tends to, it's literally, it holds a long term, literally, it will be there for time. When we're not here, this property will still be here.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to make sure that's why I surround myself with the right people. So go get yourself, if you want to get yourself a mentor, get yourself a mentor. You want to go speak to an accountant. Go speak to an accountant. Okay, if I get involved in property, what are the ways I can literally kind of like pay the correct tax and not overpay on tax if you're scared of tax? If you want to think of strategies, speak to someone like myself and they pay who we've been doing it for. I've been doing it for 10 years, a decade now. So speak to someone who can tell you these are the different strategies. This is your entry point. This is how you can gain entry into this. Now that these regulations are here, there's a big risk. But listen, man, you tell me right now, yeah, which entrepreneur doesn't take risk?
They all do.
So I want to say something to you as well. Lloyds Bank, I want people to Google this. Lloyds, no, you're already shaking your head. Lloyds Bank have said they're going to become the biggest private landlord in the UK to buy
They're not,
50
yeah.
50,000 properties by 2030. We are in 2025. 50,000 properties. So very soon, people who are going against landlords saying, oh, you buy all the houses, buy to let is dead. Okay, Lloyds Bank are buying more properties. So, and people can come together. A lot of time people think, oh, going how to listen, you don't have to even start in London. You might not even have to start in Kent. You can go a bit further. Educate yourself first. Get educated, get the right management company. For me, I don't know about you, but like for example, rent to rent, I can't manage properties myself. I just can't. It's not in my nature.
Okay.
It's not my nature. I love
Mm.
people, but I just don't. I can't see a tenant calling me with the kind of schedule that I have,
Fair enough.
with the
Yeah, yeah.
business that bro. You know what I do. For what
I
I
know how busy
do,
you are. Yeah, yeah,
it,
yeah.
it just would not work for me. Or I can't get someone calling me. Moses, the lamp is the light bulb is gone. Moses, the boy. I can't do that. So what I do, I pay. For example, and the managing agents that I pay right now that manage my properties and my client properties are people who are up to date right now with all the regulations. So one of my clients right now we just got for them. That, by the way, that property that you have in Kent is now a C. The one that project that you
Oh,
came to see in
the
Kent.
one that came to, oh, the one that came to see
Yes, sir. The EPC
near
is a
mine.
C.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's really
Yeah,
good.
the EPC is a C right now. The
Yeah,
other property I'm doing for my client up north right now is a C. The one I've just bought right now, we're looking to see how we can get it to a C. Because why? We are educated. So people, so the reason why I'm not scared and the reason why I think buy to let is still worth it is because one, educated, adapting, and holding on.
that's it.
Educated, adapting, holding on. This too will pass. When this bill kicks in, yeah, when this bill kicks in, what it's going to do is a shift. Some old landlords are going to go in, or new landlords
Exactly.
are going to come in.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
saying
all that'll
new
happen.
landlords will
Yeah.
come in. So for those who will be listening, please put your question in. If you think buy to let is not worth it, if you think property as in general is not worth it anymore, please let us know. Write the comments in there. Just say you don't think it's worth it anymore, and why you wouldn't. So let us know why would you invest. So for those who are listening right now, why would you invest in property? In buy to let, for example. And when I say buy to let, it can be any strategy. It could
Yeah.
be HMO, service accommodation, BRRs, social housing, rental. And why would you want to get from property? And why wouldn't you get involved in property? And if you are out there and you're super worried about the rental rights bill, let us know as well. Because one thing I'm seeing is that though we are having a lot of landlord exodus the market, landlords exodus right now in the market, we are also having new investors come into the
Yes.
market.
Yes.
So
And they're
I don't know.
seeing
I don't know what you think.
and you know what? And they're seeing and these new investors, especially when they're educated, they're seeing opportunity, right? That's the thing. Warren Buffett said it right when when others are fearful, be greedy, right?
Mm,
And when others are greedy, be fearful. So
mm,
ultimately, now it's a time of opportunity. I think you know that.
yeah.
I think
No.
with the
Yes.
renters reform, even with the renters reform bill, when I think about it as well, it's like what's actually changing when you actually think about it, right? So Section 21 is the big one, right? Where
Yeah.
you can't
Correct.
you can't just evict a tenant. Arguably,
Correct.
that's kind of fair though, isn't it? Like because to just kick a tenant out of their home for no reason,
No.
is it
Yeah.
fair?
Yeah.
Let's be honest,
Yeah.
right?
Correct. Yeah.
So when I actually thought, initially I got the same shock as well. But then when I actually sat and thought about it, and I was like, actually, do you know what? Some of these things are not that bad. And if you're clued up and you're compliant and you get the right tenant in, then usually you'll be okay.
Yeah. Someone just we just got a question coming. It says, "What do you think?" I want to make sure I've got the right one. So yes, back to the stuff. Yeah. Okay. Once again. So what do you think will happen to stamp duty first time buyer? So at the moment, obviously, a lot of us are also waiting for the budget for
Oh
November
yeah,
26th because Auntie Rachel Reeves can just come in with some next thing.
bro, she could do
um,
anything.
she was like, stamp duty increase from tomorrow. It wasn't even like next year. That messed up this house that I brought down my family, messed things up for us.
Yeah,
Because we had to now increase stamp duty. You know what I'm saying? So I would say for stamp duty, obviously, depending on what they say right now in the budget, but right now you do know if you buy a house, I think up to 125, you don't pay stamp duty
So
above that.
So if you buy, so if you're a first time buyer and you've never bought a property before, stamp duty you get stamp duty relief up until £300,000, right? So if
Correct.
if you're buying a property below £300,000, you pay no stamp duty, and then up until £500,000, you still get some form of relief, right? Now, any property between three to 500 as a first time buyer, you still will pay some stamp duty. Now, if you buy a property over half a million, then it'll be standard stamp duty tax, even if you're a first time buyer. So that's something to,
Yeah.
to, to be
Let
aware
me
of.
let me just help you as well, and I like doing this exercise as well. So this is going to help you guys here. If you go on Rightmove, if you just go on Rightmove here, and you put any just put any property. If you scroll to the bottom of Rightmove, it will show you stamp duty calculator. So if you buy a house for 300,001, you pay £1 stamp duty. That's what you pay. So anything that is £1 and above 300, you'll pay stamp duty.
You pay some
So
stamp duty, yeah.
for most DG who just asked that question, literally that's what it is right now. But we don't think that's going to change in the budget. I don't think they're going to change that in the budget because if they reduce that, they're just going to mess up the market. So I don't think because a lot of people can afford up to that £300,000. You know what I'm saying? Because you can buy. I mean, think about it. If you're in, let's say you live in Manchester and your house right now is £110, £110,000, bro, and you put in that 5%. I'm saying you put that 10% deposit, you're good. But if you live in the down here south, that's £30,000. So imagine now trying to add another 6 grand, 10K. So first time buyer stamp duty for now is up to £300,000. Anything above that, you pay stamp duty. It's absolutely worth it. Why? Same reason you both mentioned. Um, Baron said, "What's the best strategy with buy to rent considering the current What's the best strategy with buy to rent, considering the current high interest rate?" So, buy to rent. So, I'll be very honest with you. That's also a good friend of mine as well. You work in mostly. So, buy to rent is not some. You could probably do it. You know, and obviously because you're paying towards the mortgage, you're paying towards the purchase of the house. It's not something that I specialize in. To be honest with you, I like to talk about what I know a lot. I don't specialize in buy to rent. And I never went with any of those buying schemes, only because when I've spoken to some people who um, shared ownership scheme worked for them, and those who had horror stories, that put me off.
Or shared ownership. Is that what you
Yes.
said?
So
Oh
that put me
yes.
off. So when I spoke to certain people, so I don't actually, I can say right now, if we speak to 1,000 people who have bought houses, I can guarantee you the percentage of those who have used the buy to rent, I can confidently say, I don't think we want at 10%, personally.
Yeah, but what I will say on the shared ownership as well, like I actually did a TikTok on this, and I spoke about why it's a scam, right? And
Yeah.
it went viral, right? And then there was all sorts of comments on the video. But with shared ownership, what you have to understand is that you have two responsibilities, right? You pay a mortgage, and then you pay rent as well, right? And
Yes.
then you're responsible for 100% of the maintenance as well. And then
Mm-hmm.
if you want to own more of the property, right, through it's called staircasing, right? If you want to own more
Yes.
of it proportionally, then you actually have to pay for all the fees again, right? The solicitor fees, the mortgage broker fees, and everything like that. So for most people, I don't think shared ownership is probably the right strategy for them. For most people,
Yes. So literally, and I think if you're going to do buy to rent, well, you obviously speak to a mortgage broker and then understand the interest rate and the cost involved. And I think that's also quite important. If you're going to go to numbers, one thing I always say, that's why I've got power team. I've got good power team, mortgage brokers,
it's needed.
solicitors, accountants, surveyors, builders, you name that. Hence the reason why my company, Tango, we rated well, on
Yeah,
Google, things like that. You got to have your power team around you. If I'm going to use the buy to rent scheme, for example, I think what I would probably do is, because if you buy the house, I'm going to on the rent for the payment of like 25 years. If I'm going to buy the house and then buy it for the sake of then rent it later, then mm, buy to let, it's all based on interest. Do the numbers. Just make sure you do the numbers and the numbers work. I think once you can understand your numbers, because interest rate right now, a lot of the older investors, when we talk about, like, my one of my mentors, when I talk about interest rates here, when he showed me what he paid the interest rate in 1997 to 1999, my heart was like, is it Oli Mars? I said, "Am I heart skip?" Bro, I was like, wait, hold on a second. I looked at that for, hold on, is that 15% interest rate
yeah, bro.
before?
Yeah,
And I said,
yeah.
hold on, you bought a property and your interest rate was about 15%. I said, listen, our generation right now, if we see 50%, we are now we will say buy to this debt.
Oh yeah, yeah. Even
It's
we might
like
say it's dead.
I can say right now, I don't think we'll be able to buy any more houses.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be
Or even,
tough.
so I think if you're buying property, for me, I'm very, very big on the numbers. So the reason why I still invest in buy to let personally is because, one, I look at my strategy. So I have a strategy in mind. For me, I'm doing a lot of BRRs at the moment. So BRR allows me to buy property in a very good area, do all the research, all the due diligence, where I know I can add value to that property. So I'll buy property, for example, add value to that property, knowing that if I buy property, I'm going to give a simple number. If I buy property for £60,000, because that's what I buy it for, some of them are
Yeah.
£60,000, I spend £15,000 or £17,000 doing the refurb, I can then the new value I'm looking at is 120. For example, let's say 120,000. I can now get a mortgage on that new value. So 75% mortgage on that 120K, which then allows me to get probably like 90K back, and I can pay off the bridge loan and get some of the money back. Then that money that I get back, can now be a deposit for another property. So that's what you call adapting in property. So I'm doing that, and I'm going to continue to do that because my long-term goal, maybe to be fair, is to the point whereby I have so much pride to the but I'm a big believer of good homes. I am very, I mean, this is why I fight builders. I fight builders because of this. When you're doing a refurb with me, when I'm doing a refurb with myself and my clients, I am so big on the level of the refurb because another human being will live in there. So that's how I look at it. I see humans. I know people focus on the numbers, and there's nothing wrong with that. I am very big on the human being that will move in there, like the people that will move in there, either a family, a couple, they might have a baby. So, like the one I've just bought right now, the boiler is not super old, but I don't know. We can't find the history from the landlord, previous landlord. So guess what? I'm putting the brand new boiler.
There you go.
My
Yeah, yeah,
agent's
yeah,
like, you don't know.
yeah.
I said, no, 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 no. I'm going to put in a brand new boiler. It's okay. I'll put a brand new boiler here because it will be brand new. So the person that comes in will move in there, and then 2 weeks later, it's gone off. But
Exactly.
we just said this last week. No. So for me, the numbers have to work. The areas have to be right. But then I'm just focusing on my long-term goal. I want to put a question out there, yeah, because I want people to help me out with this one, Nabi. So if, for example, we have like what about 5.4 people renting, something like that. I run the figure. Or
5.4 million.
something.
Okay, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if, for example, 2 million landlords decides not to buy investment properties anymore, what will happen to what will happen to the PRS, which is the private rental scheme? So, never you probably start with that. What do you think will happen if 2 million landlords? Because right now, landlords. I mean, I'm part of a landlord forum on Facebook. My goodness me, man! Some of the posts that I've seen some tenants do, some of the damages I've seen some tenants do to the properties is shocking. And then when the landlords try to talk, you see other tenants like commenting, "Yeah, good for you," this. I know what it takes for me to save 30 grand in 3 months or 4 months. I know it takes a lot to go raise that money as
Yeah.
well. So my thing right now though is if you have this rental rise bill kick in and 2 million landlords leave the market, because people have different views. People are saying, I don't want to say my stuff yet. Nabi, what do you think? I'm
Oh,
putting this question out
okay,
to
okay.
people right
So,
now on the Instagram Live. Nabi,
yeah,
I'll start with you. What do you think will happen? And for those of you on Instagram Live right now, while we round up, what do you think will happen if 2 million landlords, for example, decide to just leave the market and don't buy investment property anymore, and then sell off those 2 million houses, and there's no more? So we have a deficit right now. What do you think will
yeah,
happen
yeah.
in the
So,
market?
so what I think will happen, right, is simple economics, right? So you've got a reduction in supply, right, and then you've got this like demand, right, which we know is increasing as well. So that 5.4 million number that you've quoted, right, is an increase in the numbers that was a few years ago, right, as we know, right. So if the demand for people wanted to actually rent out property increases, and then landlords are selling, then those that are left, right, the rents are going to increase. That's what's going to happen, right? So whether that's a good or bad, right, ethically, that's another conversation, right? But for landlords that stay in the market, their rents are going to increase and they're going to be more profitable. Ultimately, that's what's going to
Mm.
happen, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's
Well,
that's
I think Daniel said homelessness. Can I just touch on Daniel quickly? I've got a property for one of my clients we're dealing right now. It was a block of flats up north. And the previous landlord did not, I want you guys to listen to me. The previous landlord did not refurbish that house for 33 years. Yep, yeah, 33 years. Did not refurbish the house for that long. Okay, so now so we've been battling this case with the council. The council, do you know what the council get involved in? And do you know what this is not like on the papers? Because obviously, if the council flat, the council will be paying for that in that condition. It's not
oh,
habitable.
oh,
Oh, that's why they're not fighting us. That's why they're not fighting because you're paying for that. You know why? They don't have no properties. So they've now said they've now deemed that property legally uninhabitable. It is not habitable. But the body says, like, where would he go? If he moves out here right now, he'll be homeless.
yeah,
So homelessness, like Daniel said, will just go off the roof. The housing demand it will be crazy. It will skyrocket. So tenants right now, because I feel like I still also get it. Tenants just sometimes they hate on you and anything like that. And I get some tenants are quite they're angry and they're not happy with things. But I think if we have a lot of landlords leaving the market, and we don't have new landlords, buying more property, not only would we have a serious crisis, but the government and at the moment have not, no government, I believe since Thatcher has been able to build enough houses to meet demand.
Yeah, I think it's actually since the 1950s, post World War II. Do you know?
Okay, so okay,
Since then,
so
even, they've not
okay,
hit their target.
so no government has been able to build enough houses to meet with demand. So now they're putting this rent. So it makes me sometimes think here, if the UK government, if they actually think before they release, any legislation,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
okay, so let's do something to keep tenants really really safe. We are for the tenants. Hey, I'm a landlord and I care for my tenants. That's number one. I've also been a tenant as well. When I was a tenant, when I was living in the property I rented up back then in Stockwell, I actually I did up the house. I spent money and I did it up. Yeah, you're gonna be happy with the landlord? Of course you are.
of
I did
course.
new carpet, I did up. Now, do you get tenants do that nowadays? I don't really think so that per se, but most of the tenants are different. But I've also experienced eviction. And I've also know what it's like to try and apply for property for the council. They just tell me straight away, 10 years.
Mm.
10 years. You know what I'm saying? 10 years. So that's why I think if more people decide to leave the market, if they decide not to buy or invest in more properties, whether it's buy to let, whether it's single lets or HMOs, there's a service for everyone. I think we are going to have a major crisis.
Mm.
So, come to end, let's just encourage people out there that despite your thinking, despite the rental reform bill, rental rights bill coming to place, the budget is coming to place, they want to increase more tax. People are living the country. People are listen. People shouldn't get food. There are people living in this country. A lot of people are living in the UK. They're going to Dubai. I just came up from Dubai last month. Goodness me, man. Literally, it's like a different country itself. There's no tax. There's no people are leaving the country. So
Hmm.
I just want to encourage people like let's not focus too much on the negative, especially for those who are in property. If you're a builder, be the best builder that you can be. If you are doing rent to rent, be the best at it. Make sure you adapt. Though I think educate yourself, please. For anyone who's
That's
in
it.
property that's on this call, or if anyone wants to become, or if anyone wants to get involved in property, whether it's buy to let, HMO, please do educate yourself, know exactly what's going on, and don't just leave your property to a management company thinking they might know. No, make sure they know exactly what is happening right now, the new regulations that are changing. For example, my last point with EPC. Or we want every house to be rated C. Listen, even the government know those listed buildings in London, they can never be C. So I
That's
don't
why they keep pushing it back. That's why they keep pushing us back. Yeah, bro.
those listed buildings they can never be seen. So, but the main thing is let's have hope. Let's have a plan. And if you have a long term goal, and if you hold on to your long term, and I believe in this season right now, the only investors and the only landlords who will survive this wave, because it's another wave now, the only ones who will survive this wave are those who are thinking long term. I'm going to make sure I get an amazing tenant in my property. I'm going to look after my tenant. I'm going to work hand in hand with my tenant. I'm going to make sure that my house is good. My house is in good condition. There's no mold. There's no nothing like this. If things are faulty, I'll fix it on time. Yes, I know I'll pay tax, but I'll make sure I'm doing this the right way so that I'm in there for the long term.
Yeah.
If not, they're going to be fine. So people shouldn't just think or is buy to let dead now. No, 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 no. Because listen, I'm not going to stop buying properties. It's just me. I'm not going to stop because for me, I'm also thinking about my future. I'm saying I'm also thinking about my future. So I'm going to be buying properties. Maybe you're buying
Yeah.
yourself, like you said. So we're not going to stop buying. So I mean, thank you guys so much, man. Thank you guys for joining us. I think we should do more of this debate. We should talk about more
We
topics.
have to. We have to,
I
man.
think
This was
get
so
talk
good.
about more
I think.
topics and just
Yeah.
I think this is quite encouraging because there's some people right now who might be thinking, okay, I don't want to buy property anymore because is changing. Daniel said the quality of the house will be a reflection of the type of tenant you will get. Okay, what he just said right now, I'm going to give an example. Now, I don't know about other people, but I can speak for myself. Wherever I buy properties, by the time, so for most of my houses, by the time we're done with the refurb, a lot of the time our properties don't stay in the market for like 2 weeks. It doesn't. It doesn't. Because what we do, the agent gets people in, say this is what he's doing. I can take you to one of his houses to see, just to see what it looks like. I can show you. tenant like, oh, this is refurb. Obviously, we do certain color schemes in certain areas, so the tenant can be like, okay, that house, I can tell what landlord. Let me give an example of this. The property that I bought that was on Homes Under the Hammer when I was featured on BBC. When I did the house and did all the refurb, a tenant moved in there, and they moved in there, but they were buying another house. So, but they didn't tell me they were gonna have. So like, yeah, we're gonna stay for a long time. But obviously, they were like, please, hopefully you can stay in here. So 6 months later, they were like, we're leaving. I was like, bro, these are good tenants, man. They're good tenants. Now, another, we put a property on the market while they were still there, obviously, so we can do it on time. The next set of tenants that came that liked the property that wanted to stay, these are Asian family. The agent didn't have to sell the house to the new tenants. Didn't have to like convince them. The current tenant told the new tenant, the landlord of this property, listen, if there's any fault, he responds like that. So that tenant now have now renewed for the second year
There you
in my
go.
house. Because the minute we get an email or we get a phone call, or how Moses, we found this, okay, cool, get Adam in there. Because like Dan said, the quality of house will be a reflection of the type of tenants. So those landlords who were just cutting corners, no more. I'm
Exactly,
saying.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
to conclude, I'm still saying, personally for me, I think it's still worth it in 2025. As long as you adapt, as long as you get yourself educated, you get yourself around the right people, and you keep growing, you keep learning, I think we can survive this. Yeah,
I agree. I agree. Absolutely,
guys.
yeah. I mean, I'm the
Wow.
same, right? I'm looking to buy more properties as well. I'm looking at deals at the moment.
Yeah.
My journey's not been easy, but it's been worth it so far. I've learned a lot, made some money as
Mm.
well. And for me, like you said, right, it's a long-term game, right? With property, it's about getting educated. It's so important. It's just now making sure you're compliant with your properties, um, being creative, and one thing that you said as well is about, you do BRR, right, where you add value to properties, right? And what I'll say to people watching this live, yes, if you can, if you're a first time investor and you want to do a BRRR, cool, do it, learn about it. But even if you get a good, as a first property, if you get a good cash flowing buy to let, that's still good. That's still better than doing nothing, because that
Yeah.
momentum will carry you forward, and then you'll get creative and you do more. Anyway, I started from one buy to let in Gillingham to then buying a block of 4 flats. After
Mm.
that, so and then from there now I'm scaling even more. So don't think that your first property has to be this landmark deal where you're making silly money. It's not. It's not that. So that's what I'd encourage people as well. Like one buy to let that cash flows nicely, even if it's three, four, £500, is better than that money just sitting in your account and you being scared.
That's right, man. Man, Nebe, my God, thank you so much, man. Honestly, thank you so much. This has been absolutely fantastic. And also thank you to those who have joined us today. Like I said, definitely gonna do more lives because we have when we meet and we have this conversation. The other person I want to bring on here is Daniel. If you've seen Daniel there, I'm gonna bring Daniel,
Yeah, yeah, for sure,
bring
for
him
sure.
live.
Like I've
Yeah,
Daniel, I know him quite well as well. I've been on a
yes.
few of his courses, and I learn a
Very
lot from his
creative.
courses too.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Someone
So
said, yes, please do more of these lives. The conversation has been so insightful. Well done, guys. Thank you, Daniel. Well done, guys, for tuning in. But Daniel,
thank you
I'm gonna
guys,
get I'm gonna
appreciate
get
it.
you on here, creative style, because at the end of the day, we're just here to do what we love to do. Everybody has their own journey. And thank you guys, very informative. I hope you do another one soon. Yeah, man. Yeah.
For
Tommy,
sure. And
yeah.
I appreciate every one of you, man. Honestly,
Thank you, guys. Great live gems on gems. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you guys so much, man. Like I said, please hope, 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 hope. Don't give up on your dreams. You know what I'm saying?
that's
It's
it.
possible. If we can do it, you guys can do it. Talk to us. Follow us on Instagram. Follow Nebe on Instagram. Follow Announcements on Instagram.
That's
I'm
it.
gonna be
Yeah,
revealing I'm gonna be revealing some of the properties that we've just done recently. Like we've done some lovely
nice,
conversions.
nice,
2 beds
nice.
and
Yeah,
3 beds. The way I look at it, guys, here, maybe what we do right now is we are providing homes for other people. Like
that's it.
when I tell someone, like, at the moment, I'm literally right now in my life, I'm literally providing a roof over someone's head. Like I
Yeah,
think for that, yeah, it's a blessing. You know what I'm saying?
hundred
It's
percent.
a blessing. It's just something you think about it. Like, hey, man, I can tell my kid, like, hey, you know that we're right now we're helping someone to become, to be sheltered.
That's
They
it.
have good
Yeah,
heating. So that's how I say. So, guys, thank you so much, man. But we're gonna do some more. Look out for more stuff. And Nabil shares some amazing tips. Follow his YouTube. Nabil, tell them about your YouTube credit something before we
yeah.
go.
To be fair, if you just type in my name and then property on YouTube, you'll find it. So NebiyE. If you type in Nebi property into YouTube, you'll find me. So, or you can just
Yeah.
type in Nebi Properties Underway into YouTube, and you'll find me there as well. And I drop multiple videos every week where I just share all the gems, everything I've learned, the mistakes that I've made, and it's just fully transparent. We don't gatekeep nothing over here.
Nice one, guys. Thank you guys so much, man. Thanks for your time. Have a wonderful night. Stay safe. God bless you all. Nabi,
God
thanks
bless
so much, man.
everyone.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you, Moses.
Take
Thank you
care.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Speak to you
Bye
soon.
bye.
Take care. Bye bye. Bye.